Guys, what is up? What is up? My name is Henry Scarborough Jr. Shaw Boys 2324, aka Henry Scarborough Jr. And this is a wrestling DVD review. Yes, finally been back. So this been a new wrestling DVD review on the spectacular legacy of the AWA American Wrestling Association. Let's take a look. Got Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter, Jerry King Lawler, Shawn Michaels, Gene Okerlund, Mario Jannetty, Kurt Hennig, I think it's Bobby Heenan, and Hulk Hogan. All right, let's take a look. Right, it says, more than 3 decades, the American Wrestling Association, AWA, thrilled fans of professional wrestling, competing with NWA and WWE and making household names of its biggest stars, including Vern Gagne, Greg Gagne, Nick Bockwinkel, Larry and Kurt Hennig, and so many more. The promotion served as a training ground for the number of future stars, including Ric Flair, the Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, Ricky Steamboat, the War Warriors, and more. The AWA was also where Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Jesse the Body Ventura, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Mean Gene Okerlund exploded into the national spotlight. For the first time, the spectacular legacy of AWA traces the rich history of the organization from its early split from the NWA to its eventual demise at the hands of WWE. Extensive interviews with both Vern and Greg Gagne, Vince McMahon, as well as AWA stars Nick Bockwinkel, Larry the Axe Hennig, Jim Brunswell, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff, Dusty Rhodes, and more. And it says more than a dozen bonus matches, many never before released on DVD, including Hulk Hogan versus Miss Tato and Mr. Hattori, AWA Championship, Vergania versus Braun Van Roshnik, AWA Tag Team Champion Vern Gagne and Mad Dog Vachon versus Jesse Biden Ventura and Adrian Adonis. The Legion of Doom versus the Crusher, Larry the Axe Hennig and Kurt Hennig. AWA Championship match, Hulk Hogan versus Nick Bockwinkel, and many more. This DVD is about approximately 6 hours. Oh man, let's take a look inside. You got the pamphlet right here. You have this one. You have Nick Bockwinkel. You have, I forget his name. You have Braun Vaughn. You have Greg Gagne. On this too, you have Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan. Okay, let's take a look at. Take the packaging out. Okay, let's get into, here's the front. Okay, let's get into the documentary. Honestly, the documentary was the best part of the whole DVD itself. It's probably one of the reasons why you would get this DVD in the first place. However, I got to be honest. This is one of the first times in a long while that I have ever, while the documentary and this DVD is good for wrestling fans, bro, this DVD put me to sleep. I don't know how, but this man, when I first watched this, man, it felt so, it looked so boring, bro. But like, it was very knowledgeable in, like, you know, and the information and stuff. Like, a lot of this stuff I I learned a lot, you know, watching this DVD. But this DVD put me to sleep. Not only this one, but this two as well, bro. Like, it was crazy. Like, I actually had to, when the DVD was over, I had to rewatch some of this stuff just to, like, be like, oh my God, like, it was crazy. Like, even though it put me to sleep, it was actually, like, really good to watch. So, anyway, enough of that. All right, you got the birth of the NWA. And you got Vern Gagne's background. Basically, he was like a, you know, college athlete, wrestler. He played football. And then he became a wrestler. Like he was one of the great athletes. Vern Gagne was the wrestler. Basically, he had like connections around like, you know, he had like connections around like Hollywood. Like if I'm not mistaken, the AWA was I believe like founded around that Minnesota, Minneapolis area. Um, so like it was like just he had very like huge connections and throughout like Hollywood, and like that's how he got like places like ESPN and like stuff, like networks like excuse me, like networks like that to like broadcast his shows and stuff. You got like territories of like it was the AWA, and then you got the NWA, basically almost like WCW, and then you got the WWF at that time, WWF, WWE currently today, and then the Zenith, and like Vern Gagne became like the trainer. Then you had the superstars as I listed, superstars. Basically, like AWA, basically was like this brand, like this wrestling promotion that had a lot of talent, a lot of like wrestlers, coming from all different like territories. Oh yeah, also like Vern Gagne was not the first AWA champion. It was given to Pat Connor first. Pat Connor never defended it. Vern Gagne wanted to be was fighting to be world champion. Nobody in NWA gave him a shot, so he started up this AWA, and yeah, Pat Connor got it. Pat O'Connor got the belt first, but he never defended it. So technically, I guess like Vern Gagne became one. He became the first champion. Also, I believe he retired as champion too. And Vern Gagne trained a lot of big wrestlers during that time. And you have the it's like named superstars Hulk Hogan. Man, this was crazy because the birth of Hulkamania started in the AWA. Basically, like he came in as a heel. This was at the time where like Hulk Hogan went WWF. Then when Hulk Hogan did Rocky 3, that's what turned him babyface. That popularity and from that movie, that's how Hulk Hogan first became like a babyface. And like he left WWF at the time, went to AWA, became a big star. But the problem was Vern Gagne got in his own way, and Hulk Hogan to like it's understandable why like Hulk Hogan had left the AWA because of the fact that he wanted his Vern Gagne wanted to cut from his money that he's making from both. I think it was just from the movie and also his New Japan. So they did all these dusty finishes with like Hulk Hogan and Nick Botwinkle. Personally, I believe that like Vern Gagne didn't want to give him the belt. He won it twice, and then he had to give it back due to technicalities, disqualifications, like all this is a bunch of mess and garbage. Basically, if Vern Gagne didn't have like an ego about like the wrestling business at the time, stuck in his old ways, Hulk Hogan would who knows what would WWE would have been at that time, because once Hulk Hogan left, about almost like a month or so later, he became world champion, and then the rest is history. And yeah, so after when Hulk Hogan was the first domino to fall, once Hogan left, basically a lot of stars had left, like Gene Okerlund, Bobby Heenan, Bobby Ventura, basically all the talent left AWA, and like it was a big blow. And imagine like if Hulk Hogan had stayed, who knows how AWA might have been here still to this day if it wasn't for Vern Gagne's ego. And to Hogan's credit, like he saw the opportunity to go back, and Vince was the ultimate, I guess, killer in that sense. So like you have the competition, basically. like WWF, AWA, NWA at the time. He had Superclass, the first ever Superclass, basically between joint promotions of the NWA, and like it wasn't really that much of a success. But like I think I forget like when the first Super Clash was. I know by the time you got the Super Clash 3, it was like the revenue was bad and the pay-per-view valuation wasn't really that good, and we'll get to that. But Super Clash, and by the time the superstars left, it wasn't really making much money. Too many egos, too many politics in the sport of professional wrestling, and like he had Stan Hansen. This was kind of one of those crazy stories. Like Stan Hansen was big in Japan, and like they basically like the AWA title, like by the time like Hogan left, they and Stan Hansen especially, like they only kept guys in house, and oh yeah, especially when Jerry Lawler got in the unification match against Kerry Von Erich. Basically, it was just one of those things they wanted to keep in house, like people like I guess Greg Gagne at the time, like he wanted Vern Gagne wanted his son to be champion, but like Greg wasn't that guy. I mean, he could wrestle, but he didn't have the charisma like his father was. Um, and then Stan Hansen, like one of the funny stories was like Stan Hansen literally when he was making more money in Japan than was in than he ever would have made in AWA, and a lot of people left basically because you know not much money, you know. And basically like people like Stan Hansen they left, and then a lot of people left because of, like money issues and egos, politics. By the time Super Clash came, Super Clash 3, yeah, it was all held downhill from there. Like Vince wasn't worried. Like when Super Clash first started, he wasn't worried, and then by the time Super Clash 3, he, it was like WWE already off to the races, and AWA was just a dying brand at that point, struggling to stay alive. Like I said, like it was struggling for straws. Team Challenge series, they ain't never really mind hoping about trouble with the state. Like I think as the state of Minnesota and like state of the state of the state of AWA at the time, like you know WCCW and all these dying promotions, like they want to be on board with Vince McMahon. They want to compete against Vince McMahon, and good luck with that. Shoot, like you think you're gonna compete with Vince McMahon and actually beat him? Yeah, I like you, that ain't happening. I was like, you know, the downfall was the beginning and the end of AWA was when Hogan did not win the championship. I feel like if that had happened, AWA would probably still been around today. Maybe, you know, who knows? But I know, well, we know that Hulkamania would not have happened. WrestleMania would not be the way it is today because of the mainstream notoriety that Hulk Hogan was getting. So in a way, like I understand, like I get where AW like Vern Gagne was coming from, or why he didn't want to push a guy like a Hogan, because like he wanted to push wrestlers. But at the same time, Hogan was like one of the hottest people at that time, and I'm like if only he had the business mindset to capitalize. Oh my God, like Hogan can make a whole lot of money. I know I'm like standing on this point about like Hogan, but still like it's just people just get in their own way. Like you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and that's how people, you know, that's how people got. That's how people just you know lose out in the end. You know, lose their business. Vern Gagne became a WWE Hall of Famer. He's probably one of the biggest contributors to you know the wrestling business as a whole. Like bringing all these guys, and then WWE rated their talent, and it's funny how like it's almost like how AWA and not AWA AEW is doing with WWE, but that's a whole nother story to get to. But yeah, Vern Gagne absolutely is a Hall of Famer. He never wrestled in WWE, but like he always, you know, he said that Vern Gagne said he has a good relationship with his father, Vince Senior, not really good relationship with his son, and you know his son tried to take over the company. Overall, the documentary was really good. I highly recommend it. It's just like if it puts you to sleep, you know, like you better hold just stay awake. But like Really, really good. I highly recommend it. That's probably the best part of the DVD itself. Came for the documentary and also, the great AWA matches. Although there's some matches that they put on the that was on the documentary. It's like, man, I wanted to see, but it's like, it's whatever. You have the extras from this one. I had to rewatch some of these. Not really memorable ones, but just like I think you could find these at WWE Network or Peacock. That's what it is. But on to this 2, High Flyers versus Nick Bogwin and Ray Stevens. August 23rd, 1971. Overall, it's not a bad match. It's always good. Vern Gagne versus Baron von Roschnick. July 13th, 1974. This is a really, really good match. Vern Gagne is a really, really good technical wrestler, man. I'll tell you. Overall, it was a really, really good match. Pat Patterson versus Ray Stevens versus Billy Robinson and Frankie Hill, May 20th, 1978. Very forgettable. Can't really too much say about that one. Very forgettable. AWA Tag Team Championship, Vern Gagne and Mad Dom Vachon versus Jesse Ventura and Adrian Adonis, March 22nd, 1980. This was actually a really, really good tag team match. That's all I'm gonna say about that one. It's a really good tag team. AWA Championship match, Vern Gagne versus Nick Bockwinkel, May 10th, 1981. This was a good match as well. It went long as well, so this was a really, really good match. High Flyers versus Jesse Ventura and Adrian Adonis. Again, really, really good match. August 30th, 1981. Really, really good match. Highly recommend some of these matches. Nick Bockwinkel versus Hulk Hogan AWA Championship match. April 18, 1982. Really okay match, but the crowd was hot for this match. Obviously Hogan technically won, but due to technicality and he didn't win. So that's unfortunate, but yeah. It's whatever. I already but I already went about this story. Jesse Ventura versus Baron von Roschnick. March 16th, 1983. Good match. Not that bad. It's not that bad. Great workers in the ring. Handicap match, Hulk Hogan versus Mr. Tora. Handicap match, it's whatever. The Legion of Doom, yes. Hawk and Animal, Paul Ellering, yes. The manager and / wrestler. Crush versus Crush, Larry Hennig and Kurt Hennig. It was okay match. Not the best match on the card on this DVD, but it's overall a good match. Midnight Rockers versus Buddy Rhodes and Doug Summers, Brawl in St. Paul, December 25th, 1986. I think this is when they finally got the tag team titles. I think I probably talked about this match in Shawn Michaels DVDs in my reviews. So if you want in my playlist, just check it out if you want to see. But overall, this is one of the best matches on the DVD. And Kurt Hennig versus Nick Bockwinkel, AWA Championship match, Super Clash 2, May 2nd, 1987. This was a really, really good match, dude. But just the shenanigans after the match and stuff like that overall. But other than that, that was a really good match. The crazy part is Kurt Hennig won the championship, but yet a few months down the road, he went to WWE. It's crazy. He defected to WWE. People just going left and right, bro. And people that's why AWA was kind of struggling to have a legitimate champion, especially at that time. If Hogan did not, if Vern Gagne did not capitalize on Hulk Hogan, they wouldn't be in this position today. AWA / WCCW Championship Unification match, Jerry the King Lawler versus Kerry Von Erich, Superclass 3, December 13, 1988. This was an okay match. It ended in a fluky finish when Kerry Von Erich was bleeding from the eye, and they had to stop the match even though he was in control of the match with the claw. And Jerry Lawler, I ain't gonna lie, Jerry Lawler is super, not underrated, but like he is one of the best workers in the territories, especially at that time, man. Like, I don't know how Jerry Lawler was now world champion in WWE, but that's a whole different story. But still, man, like, yeah, like Jerry, like he got mad at AWA and Verganya because he wasn't gonna get paid. The payout for this match was like cheap, and like, you know, the egos and politics. Like WCCW want Kerry Von Erich to win, other people want Jerry Lawler to win, and then like stuff like that. And then Jerry Lawler didn't get paid from AWA, still not to this day. I think it was like 20 something thousand or 100,000. I don't know how much it was. But like he wasn't getting paid, and he was not having that. He didn't even send the belt back, and like I think kept the original belt, right? I know they made a new one, but kept the original belt. So like it was, man. Like I said, by the time Super Crash 3, man, it was already Titanic. But like they hit the iceberg, and when Hogan left, and it was a sinking ship. By that time, it was a sinking ship, and like a lot of people deflected. So overall, like I said, this is a really, really good DVD. Highly recommend it, especially if you are a wrestling historian, wrestling fan, bro. Like for real. Like overall, I enjoy it. It's a great purchase if you could find it. This is like one of those DVDs that's very, very hard to find. That's why it like took me so long to get it. It's crazy how you have Ric Flair on this DVD, like on like the cover of this DVD and stuff. He gets mentioned in this documentary too, but like there's no Ric Flair match. Word? Like I'm surprised there's no had that many like, you know, Vergani matches. Should have been more like Midnight Rocker, you know, couple more Midnight Rocker matches and stuff like that, you know. Like there's, you know, there's certain matches on DVD that like, man, it's like really, I like wish that match was on here, but on the DVD. But overall, match selection is not really that great, but the legacy of AWA is bar none, and man, like I said, you know, if people didn't get in their own way, hey, who knows? AWA might be here today, might be still here today. You know, who knows? But it's, but like I said, highly recommend it, bro. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully, I can get back into the swing of things when it comes to these videos for y'all. Got more wrestling DVD reviews and other stuff coming in the future. Please don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. God bless. Peace.